Today I'll talk about internal quality control for quantitative test results. So quantitative test results are usually the results from hematology section and biochemistry section of a clinical laboratory. Based on monitoring of test procedures that are performed in the laboratory, and it includes measurement on specially prepared material known as control materials, repeated measurements on routine specimens, that is patient specimens, daily statistical analysis of data obtained from tests that have been routinely done, and analysis of normals is included in this, and delta check. So these are the various options for internal quality control for quantitative test results. The basic approach to internal quality control involves the analysis of control material alongside the patient test procedures. The outcome of the control analysis forms the basis of decision regarding the acceptability of the batch which is run. The interpretation of control data must be based on documented objective criteria and on statistical principles wherever possible. Selection of QC material, generally two different concentrations are needed for adequate process control, and these two include, out of three options, one is low concentration level control, the other is normal concentration level control, and the third is high concentration level control. So any two of these are at least required to assess the uh, process is in control. The most important properties are that the control material should behave like a real sample. That is, its metrics should be similar to the patient sample. For qualitative methods, QC material should be selected to provide analyte concentrations which monitor the analytical measurement range of methods. Most quantitative assays have linear response over analytical measurement range, and one can be confident about the performance over range. In case of nonlinear methods, for example, sometimes the results of ELISA reading are nonlinear. It may be necessary in that situation to use additional control at intermediate concentrations. For procedures which involve pre-treatment of the sample or extraction of uh, analyte from the sample, for example, DNA or RNA extraction, uh, then at least one control must be capable of detecting the defects in the pre-treatment step. For qualitative tests, a positive and negative controls are required. A positive control near threshold level is good to discriminate between positive and negative results. So, this is for qualitative test. In this lecture, I'll talk about quantitative test results. So, what are the principles of quality control? The analytical methods to be controlled is first studied to characterize analytical performance. Measurements are made on control material. Repeat measurements therefore characterize the imprecision or random errors of analytical method. It is assumed that the distribution of these errors is Gaussian or normal distribution, and the distribution can be statistically described by using mean and standard deviation. The statistics are calculated from replication study, generally over a 20-day period, with one measurement on each control material per analytical run and one analytical run per day. So after obtaining these 20-day period results or 20 results, we can obtain mean and standard deviation, and using the mean and standard deviation control chart, also known as Levy-Jennings chart or multi-ruled Shewhart chart, is prepared for each control material. The chart displays concentration on the y-axis versus time on the x-axis, and horizontal lines are drawn for the mean and for upper and lower control limits, which are usually three standard deviations. Uh, so this is the Levy-Jennings chart. and this is mean, and this is upper limit, mean plus 3 standard deviation, and this is lower limit, mean minus 3 standard deviation. And we can also use lines in between for 1 standard deviation and 2 standard deviations, both above and below the mean. So what are the control rules or decision criteria? The convention way to express QC rule uh, is based on the work of Westgard, and I'll talk about these. These are Westgard rule. First rule is 1-2s. It represents the control rule where one control observation exceeds two standard deviation from target value. So it is one reading beyond two standard deviations. So 1-2s rule. And this 1-2s rule is the warning rule for Shewhart chart and is interpreted as requirement for additional inspection of the control data, testing the data with the rules below to judge whether the analytical run should be accepted or rejected. The next rule is 1-3s. So it symbolizes that the control result exceeds one time beyond three standard deviations. So this is the actually rejection rule. Then we come to 2-2s rule. It means that the control result of two QC specimens in the same run exceed two standard deviations. So the run is rejected when control observations on both material exceed their respective two standard deviation control limits, or uh, similarly below minus two standard deviations limit. The rule can also be applied to two consecutive observations on the same control material, one from each of the two consecutive runs. When applied to consecutive observations on different material, this will be referred to as across material to differentiate this from consecutive observations on the same material or within material. Then we come to R4S rule. It is the control rule according to which the run is rejected when the range or difference between two consecutive control observations within the run exceed four standard deviation. The rule is invoked when the observation in one control material exceed two standard deviation and the observation on the other exceed two standard deviation. That is, each observation is out by two standard deviation but in opposite direction, making a total of four standard deviations difference between them. Then comes 4-1s rule. It is the control rule where the run is rejected when four consecutive control observations exceed one standard deviation in the same direction of the target value. These consecutive observations can occur within one control material, which would require inspecting the observations for four consecutive runs, or across control materials, which would require inspecting only the present run and the one before it. Then come 10x rule. It is the control rule which says the run is rejected when 10 consecutive control observations fall on same side of the mean. These consecutive observations can occur within one control material or across control materials. This would require inspection of 10 or 5 consecutive runs respectively. This is the chart which I have reproduced. This is from original publication uh, of this rule from a journal. So we assess the control data. We look for 1-2s rule. If it is not violated, then the process is in control. If the rule is violated, then we assess whether it is 1-3s. If it is 1-3s, then we are out of control in situation. If it is not 1-3s, then we assess whether there is 2-2s. If it is 2-2s, then it is rejection. Then we assess for R4s. Then we assess for 1s, and we also assess 10x. So the 1s rule is uh, is a warning rule and prompts a more detailed inspection of the data using the other control rules. So this is actually how to use this chart, which I have shown before. So it is important that the errors can be of one of the two types: random error and systematic error. Random error will most often be detected by 1-3s rule and R4s rule, whereas systematic error is usually be detected by the 2s, 4 1x, and 10x, and when very large by 1 3s rule. So these are about random error and systematic errors. So what should we do when the analytical method is out of control? First, we determine the type of error. As I told you, it may be random error or systematic error. Then we refer to troubleshooting guide to inspect the components of the method or instrument that contribute to the type of error observed. We correct the problem, then reanalyze the patient samples and control samples. Then, in assessing control of the new run, we do not include the control data from the previously rejected run. And we consult the supervisor for any decision or to report when there is a lack of statistical control or there is out of run situation. So these are certain tips. First one is that patient result can be reported when there is lack of statistical control in the following situations. So if there is out of control situation and we can report the patient results, this should be allowed in the following situations. The control problem can be shown to be due to control material themselves and not due to machine or reagents. The control problem can be shown to have resulted from an isolated event that would not have affected the rest of the run of the patient samples. The control problem occur in concentration range that is different from the concentration of patient samples. The size of the analytical error is judged to be small relative to the medical useful requirement. These are certain scenarios in which, even though the situation is out of control, we can report the patient results. But we should be very cautious and we should consult the supervisor or the quality manager. Resolving control problems when control system gives a rejection signal, a problem solving procedure should be initiated. The particular control rule violated may give an indication of the type of error that is occurring. When the violation occurs on two different concentration of control material within a single run, then it is noteworthy that it is unlikely to be a problem with the control material because there are the two different concentration of control materials uh, are out of run. It is more likely to a problem with the standards, that is calibration and reagent blanks or similar factor that will affect all measurement in the same direction. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.